Okay, so now we enter the Q&A session for these talks. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask any of the speakers who are here, either over Zoom or in person?
I can't remember the author's bill. I was just wondering for the Pedro Moraga. I don't know if there's anyone who can answer this question for me, but what the distribution of like single versus multiple sources was in that data set that they extended and added some negative examples to.
Let's see, I think Shintong, yeah, I think he actually is here. So Shintong, do you think you can answer that question? So someone who's...
So you mentioned, sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure.
I did not get the full part.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was curious what the distribution of single versus multiple sources is in your extended version of the like Flickr SoundNet and VGG Sound datasets for localization.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, that's a good question. So actually, in our papers, we did not involve any multiple sources in the experiments. So in the extended version, we only involved non-something objects. That is just a single source. Yeah, it's not multiple source. Yeah, so but it might be the direction for future work. We should involve like off-screen or off-screen single source, off-screen multiple source. Yeah, I think that's a really
Great. Anyone else have questions for the speakers?
So I have one question for sound localization task. So you mentioned that it's very easy to overfitting for extinct work. So what do you think do you know why it's like overfitting for this data set? Because I saw most of this master are based on like ResNet 18 or like VGG's model is like pretty small model. So what's caused the overfitting in this data set?
Okay. That's also a good question. So actually for some of the source of validation, they were always used like ResNet 18 as the backbone to extract visual features or audio features. So from my experiments on the VGGSS or Flickr SoundNet, I think the overfitting is mainly caused by it's mainly caused by the summer source area. I think that because I have visualized the localization maps, you can see that a lot of summer sources are very large or very big in the frame. So it might count as 80 or 75% in the frame. So it's very easy for the model to learn, I think, because as I mentioned before in the presentation, and all of the methods always use the cross-validation or the evaluation during training. So the model will be very easy to find the best checkpoint for the final prediction. So by the Yammer method, we did not involve the early stopping. We just use the latest checkpoint for evaluation in the end. So I think, yeah, I'm not sure if I answer your question, but yeah, that's my observation from experiments in my research. Yeah.
Great. Other questions?
I have a question for the AudioScope version 2 authors. So, like, I think from what I understood, there is a trade-off between SNR and OSR. So is there a way to kind of come up with a differentiable objective for OSR and combine that with SNR? Because I know there are differentiable objectives for SNR.
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. Yeah, so in the way we train Audioscope, the losses we use are kind of indirect. Like to actually optimize SNR, we need the reference for the on-screen sound, and to get that, you need to label a bunch of videos and find on-screen only videos. And from our labeling, we actually we weren't able to find a lot of on-screen only videos. They were like 3 or 4% or something of all the videos we rated. We were pretty strict about the agreement of raters, and that might be one reason why. But we wanted to have like really good labels. So so yeah, it's kind of difficult to optimize SNR directly, but yeah, to tune OSR, it's a lot easier to make off-screen examples, at least synthetically. So yeah, we've had some ideas on having some loss function that indeed optimizes the rejection of off-screen sounds towards some target. In our paper, we use like median OSR across all the examples, so that's a little harder to make differentiable. But there's some ways you could probably figure that out. So yeah, it's a great question. Thanks.
Other questions? Oh, great.
I have a question for Risako. So I wonder, like, why why using ultrasound for segmentation? Because it seems like you cannot get the accurate body shape or like segmentation mask anyway, right? It seems like it's like if you only get the contour, it doesn't seem like it's a very meaningful output. I wonder why segmentation. And another question is like, what's like the best use of ultrasound? Maybe, for example, for localization, it's like better. I don't know. Yeah.
We use ultrasound because it's inaudible, and we do not need human voices. Voices have personal information, so we protect voice privacy. So that's why we use ultrasound, and the contour is ambiguous, but if we get segmentation images, we can check the what happened. Actually, the human, for example, if human is laying down, we can check it is happened or not. So that's why we create segmentation images. Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, I have one for the last speaker, Shen. How did you choose which windows to use in the object detector? Oh, like which, I guess when you associate the YOLO detectors, image region with the audio, which ones?
Yes. Okay, very good question. So I just apply YOLO on the 360 video. I get lots of bounding boxes, but not every object is useful. That sometimes you detect the chair, but I don't want because it doesn't generate the sound. So I didn't apply using this kind of, what is that, power map from the sound. So I just run. So I take this randomly from, like, I divide them into 4 sections in 360, and then from each section I choose one, because this in this audio visual spatial alignment they choose 4 objects. So I divide them into 4 parts, and each part I select one of them. But theoretically, I could have selected also the object that makes sound. But this is what I did in this work so far. It could have improved later on. Yes, thank you.
Other questions? Okay, I have one more. Scott, for yours. Why do you think you got such a big improvement from the semi-supervised version of the model instead of the unsupervised version?
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. So yeah, with the semi-supervised, we take this data that we've had labeled by humans, and you know, that gives us like much stronger targets to train the audiovisual classifier. You know, there's not a lot of it, but we have, I think, you know, it's on the order of like hundreds of on-screen examples, and in the like high hundreds for the off-screen ones, and like real off-screen. So, you know, we're not going to overfit by making like synthetic off-screen. So yeah, just the fact that you have those stronger labels telling the classifier like, look, this is really an on-screen sound, or this is really an off-screen sound, instead of relying on more multiple instance loss, which is just kind of, you know, it's a little squishy, and it's yeah, kind of like letting labels be, well, you know, it's weaker information. So yeah, thanks for the question.
Thanks. Any more questions for speakers?